Real-time strategy games have kind of fallen out of the mainstream in recent years, at least in the West. Granted, there's still a sizable cult following for the genre's new releases, but it's still a far cry from the chokehold these games had over PC gaming in the 90s and early 2000s. Age of Empires, Star Wars Empire at War, Warcraft, Command & Conquer, Z, all classics in my book. But one RTS series rose above all the rest, redefining what these games could. StarCraft. It's StarCraft. This video isn't a history lesson on RTS as a genre. It's not even a retrospective on StarCraft and how it set a new precedent for competitive gaming and strategy games or anything on those lines. No, I will be touching on game design every now and again just because I do feel like it supplements the main story, but my focus here will be on the plot and the characters. I just want to talk about StarCraft from a storytelling perspective because there's a lot this game does masterfully, and later on down the line, some things this series does a little less than great. But overall, StarCraft is a pretty good game, and I like it a lot.
A wave of Zerg advancing on this position. We need immediate evac.
My life rise. All shall tremble before the might of the swarm.
With our enemies left unchecked, who will you turn to for protection?
StarCraft 1's 30-mission story is divided into 3 10-mission campaigns, each following one of the playable races in the game. Terran, who are just human I'd like to add, Zerg, and Protoss respectively. The first of the campaigns, Rebel Yell, has you playing as Terran. I really like the choice to start players off with Terran, seeing as how they're the most familiar that they're human people, and they also play the most similarly to a traditional RTS faction. The story begins with a text crawl that gets straight to the point. The primary human government, the Confederacy, has been attacked by aliens, so you, the player, have been sent out to protect the people of Marsara, a planet on the outskirts of human territory. Before we get into it, I want to point something out. StarCraft 1 campaigns don't have a named protagonist. They literally just address you, the player, and the role that you've been given in the world, be that a magistrate, a cerebrate, or an executor. You're always going to be addressed in second person. I just wanted to clear that up. Anyways, a Confederate general, Edmund Duke, sends you a voicemail explaining the situation.
Greetings, Magistrate. I'm General Edmund Duke of the Confederate Security Forces Alpha Squadron. The Confederacy has quarantined this entire planet, and we'll proceed with a lockdown within 48 hours. You're to relocate your core colonists to the outlying wastelands. Now, I know there won't be any problems with these new arrangements.
We then head off to a tutorial mission where the game introduces the mechanics and the real protagonist of the campaign, Jim Raynor.
Howdy, boys. I'm Jim Raynor.
Raynor's the local marshal on Marsara and has agreed to help out the Confederates moving out to the wasteland. Despite his troubled history as a former outlaw, Raynor's conscience and general good nature make him a pretty consistent voice of reason in the Terran campaign.
Oh, yeah.
After a brief conversation in the meeting room, we get an alert that aliens are attacking a nearby town, so our space Alexa sends General Duke a message, and he just says, "Yeah, we heard about it. I'll just chill, you guys. If anything comes up, I'll LYK." Raynor, knowing that LYK is a synonym for go fuck yourself, decides to actually do something about it and protect the nearby colonists. Now we get to our first real mission of the game. We're introduced to the Zerg on this mission, and we get a decent look at how they operate. The ground around their structures seems as if it's alive, like it's been infested by their presence. We find some survivors and build up a small army and tear down the alien base, but in it we find a Terran command center that's been taken over by the Zerg. Destroying it alerts Duke, who's less than cheesed that we just blew up a Confederate base regardless of its infestation status, and he prepares to arrest Raynor and co. It's stupid and petty, but it's to be expected. The Confederacy is known in universe for being less than lenient when it comes to enforcing their laws.
Guess you wouldn't be a Confederate if you weren't a complete pain in the ass.
Well, at least the Zerg have been taken care of. Now we get to a little less than astonishingly aged pre-rendered cutscene of a couple Confederates just heading down the road and then
Bazinga!
Looks like you mashed some poor fella's dog, Sarge.
It's a Zerglin, Lester. Smaller type of Zerg. He can be out this far unless... Oh, shit.
I love you, Sarge.
oh, maybe things aren't going to be that simple. The Confederates, being complete jackasses, are arresting Marsara militias left, right, and center, including Jim, who's been sent off to space jail off screen, so you're left scrambling to find some kind of support to keep your people safe. It's then that you're contacted by the anti-Confederate paramilitary faction, the Sons of Korhal. The group's leader, Arcturus Mengsk, offers you transport off-world.
You're familiar with the Confederate propaganda surrounding my group, but your reputation suggests you'll see past it.
But if you take him up on his offer and accept his help, you are going to be considered a fugitive in the eyes of the Confederacy and a traitor. Seeing as how you're literally already pending arrest, you decide to accept Mengsk's offer. Damn, that name is hard. One easiest mission in the entire campaign later, and we're now officially members of the Sons of Korhal, baby! And we meet up with Raynor, who's been freed, and Arcturus to go over our plans to move forward. The boy band opts to raid a Confederate laboratory before taking off so that we can steal some important documents. In the lab, we find something interesting.
I don't believe this.
Believe it. I saw Zerg within Confederate holding pens myself, and that was over a year ago.
Apparently, the Confederacy's known about the Zerg for years before the general public, obtaining the intel that we need, Raynor and code GTFO, right as Marsara is about to get incinerated by another alien race, the Protoss.
Receiving incoming transmission from Arcturus Mengsk.
You and Captain Raynor have done well, Commander. I believe our efforts have weakened the Confederacy's grip on the fringe worlds.
We get on the call with Arcturus and Jim, who break their no girls allowed policy and invite Sarah Kerrigan to the server. Kerrigan is a ghost operative, basically a human special forces unit, with a healthy dash of psionic powers on the side, Kerrigan herself being one of the most powerful in recorded history. The Sons, and daughter of Korhal, continue their crusade against the Confederacy, heading down to Antigua Prime to spark a rebellion amongst the colonists. So Kerrigan sneaks into the base, fucking murders the commanding officer, and assembles a merry crew of Confederacy haters to take back Antigua. Hearing about the revolt, General Duke sets out to put the dirty commoners back in their place. But a sizable swarm of spacefaring Zerg, also on their way to show the Antigans who's boss, knock his spaceship onto the planet and start building up their own forces on the surface. The crew hears about this, and everybody's pretty much in agreement that Duke sucks and honestly kinda deserves this. Everyone except Arcturus.
Zerg? Here? Serves them right. About time they got a taste of what it's like to be in there mixing it up.
Jim, I want you to move in and save that base.
I'm positive I didn't hear that right.
Arcturus, have you lost your mind?
Listen, I know Duke's a cold-hearted bastard, but an entire colony shouldn't have to suffer for that. Besides, a Confederate general could prove to be a powerful ally. This is an opportunity we cannot miss.
I don't like this at all.
I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to do it.
Begrudgingly, we take the Zerg hive cluster down and we get Duke and his pals out of the wreck, from which Mengsk convinces Duke that the only way forward is to join. Oh my god! Convinces Duke that the only way forward is to join him and work to take down the Confederacy. God, you don't want to know how many takes that was. I sure do hope you like fighting the Confederacy, because there's even more of them careening towards Antigua Prime. However, the crews just managed to decrypt some of the documents we stole a couple missions back, and we found something pretty interesting.
Those running the program found that the Zerg are attuned to the psychic emanations of ghosts.
So the Zerg are here for you, darling? This keeps getting better and better.
Shut up. There's been a lot of secret Confederate research surrounding ghosts and the Zerg. What we stole was a small but critical piece of the puzzle. The emitters broadcast the neural imprint of a ghost, but at a much greater magnitude. These things reach across worlds.
The Confederacy used these psi emitters to lure the Zerg into isolated containment areas. Your colony, Marsara, Commander, was one such location.
What are you saying?
I'm saying the Zerg are a secret weapon developed by the Confederacy. I'm saying you were all subjects of a Confederate weapons test. It's time the Confederacy paid for its crimes, and I know just the way.
I'm having doubts about this, Arcturus. I just don't think anyone deserves to have the Zerg unleashed on them.
I know you have personal feelings about this, but you can't let your past cloud your judgment. Carry out your orders, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Base is under attack.
Now that we have a psi emitter, Arcturus orders Kerrigan to plant it in the Confederates' new outpost in order to have them wiped out by the Zerg. Despite the moral quandary that she and everyone else has about summoning a swarm of aliens to dismember and destroy anything that moves in that area, Kerrigan does reluctantly carry out the order.
Emitter in place. Just promise me we'll never do anything like this again.
We will do whatever it takes to save humanity. Our responsibility is too great to do any less.
Now, the Confederacy is at the very end of its rope. The only territory that it has any real influence over now is its capital planet of Tarsonis. And, well, we're not just gonna stop right at the end. We're gonna have to see this through. First things first, we gotta take down the orbital defenses. Duke, knowing just about everything there is to know about Tarsonis, leads a strike force to tear the platform out of the sky. Okay, I know I said this video is not about gameplay, but I just have to mention, this mission is so much fun. While we unlocked siege tanks a couple missions back, it's really here that they get to shine. Just building this massive army of tanks that slowly advance up to the enemy's base and deploy heavy artillery just to obliterate any and everything the Confederates throw at you. Suffice to say, this mission is fucking awesome.
Orders, sir!
Never know what hit 'em.
Hey, shit ass. Hey, shit ass.
What's less awesome is what Duke does at the end.
This is Duke. The emitters are secured and online.
Who authorized the use of psi emitters?
I did, Lieutenant.
What? The Confederates on Antigua were bad enough, but now you're going to use the Zerg against an entire planet? This is insane.
She's right, man. Think this through.
I have thought it through. Believe me. You all have your orders. Carry them out.
Kerrigan doesn't like that, Raynor doesn't like that, and the Protoss don't like that. A Protoss force has been sent to clear Tarsonis of Zerg. This is a problem for our heroes because if the Zerg and the Protoss get into a proper scuffle, Confederate leadership might escape Tarsonis and that'd still be a problem for Mengsk. So Kerrigan's sent out to deal with the Protoss against Raynor's protests.
This is bullshit. Kerrigan, are you reading this?
I heard. I'm going down there. Arcturus knows what he's doing. I can't back out on him now.
Funny. I never thought of you as anyone's martyr.
Jimmy, drop the knight in shining armor routine. It suits you sometimes. Just not now. I don't need to be rescued. I know what I'm doing. The Protoss are coming to destroy the entire planet, not just the Zerg. I know that because, well, I just know it. I am a ghost, remember? Once we've dealt with the Protoss, we can do something about the Zerg. Arcturus will come around. I know he will.
I hope you're right, darling. Good hunting.
Make it.
Set a course. Base is under attack. Receiving incoming transmission. Base is under attack.
We've neutralized the Protoss, but there's a wave of Zerg advancing on this position. We need immediate evac.
Belay that order. We're moving out.
What?
Base is under attack.
Leave him.
All ships prepare to move away from Tarsonis on my mark.
Boys? How about that evac?
Damn you, Arcturus.
Your forces are under attack.
It's done. Helmsman, signal the fleet and take us out of orbit. Now.
Commander? Jim? What the hell is going on up there?
Base is under attack. The fleet has lost contact with the ground forces at New Gettysburg. General Minsk has ordered the immediate disengagement of the Core Hall fleet. Receiving incoming transmission.
I can't believe he actually left her down there. I'm gone, and you better come with me. There's no telling who Arcturus will screw over next.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Gentlemen, you've done very well. But remember that we've still got a job to do. The seeds of a new empire have been sown. And if we hope to reach...
To hell with you!
You're making a terrible mistake. Don't even think to cross me. I have sacrificed too much to let this fall apart.
You mean like you sacrificed Kerrigan?
You'll regret that. You don't seem to realize my situation here. I will not be stopped. Not by you, or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector, or see it burnt to ashes around me. If you try to get
The fleet is prepped and ready, Commander. Awaiting orders.
The hell with him. We're gone.
We are on our own now. But we can't just take off. The ion cannon above Tarsonis is set up to prevent any Confederates, and now us as well, from leaving the planet, so we need to take that down before we can escape. We also steal Arcturus' flagship, the Hyperion, but we don't get to see that for like 2 campaigns, so forget I mentioned it. Despite having taken down the ion cannon and performing a devious lick, this isn't really much of a victory. We and Jim may have escaped Arcturus' grasp for now, but he has what he wanted all along. The sector isn't free, it's just under new management. The Confederacy might be gone, but from its ashes rises the Dominion, a regime far greater and more terrible than his predecessor could ever have hoped to become.
From this day forward, let no human make war upon any other human. Let no Terran agency conspire against this new beginning, and let no man consort with alien powers. And to all the enemies of humanity, seek not to bar our way, for we shall win through, no matter the cost.
Hey, wake up. You're a blob of sentient flesh bound to the will of the OVERMIND. You are a cerebrate, a psionic organism that lives to extend the OVERMIND's control over the Zerg swarm. What's the OVERMIND? The big, ancient brain-eye thing that controls the entire Zerg hive mind.
Wait, I thought the Zerg were a weapon created by the Confederacy to cover up their war crimes.
Arcturus Mengsk is full of shit, and he said what he said in the last campaign purely to get you on his side. Whether or not he actually believed what he was talking about is irrelevant, but I have a sneaking suspicion he knew better. Where was I? Basically, you're a brain that's property of a bigger brain. Your job is to protect the chrysalis that the OVERMIND has recently acquired on Tarsonis. You don't know what's in here, but whatever it is, the OVERMIND sees it as the ultimate weapon of the swarm, and that's all that matters. Because the OVERMIND wants it alive, you want it alive. After learning how to Zerg, it's time to rush a Terran outpost in the corner of the map, and that is that. One easiest mission in the whole campaign later, we've blasted off into hyperspace because the OVERMIND can create wormholes for interstellar travel. And now we're on Char, the primary hive cluster of the Zerg. Another cerebrate intercepts a transmission from the Dominion fleet. Apparently General Duke is sending out guys to clear out the Zerg presence on this planet, not realizing that this is in fact Char. It goes about as well as you'd expect. Okay then. Oh look, Jim Raynor's here with Raynor's Raiders, the anti-Dominion rebel group from the end of the last campaign. They're here because whatever the signal the Chrysalis just sent out reached him, and they decided to act on it and bring their forces here, not realizing that this is in fact Char. Normally, the swarm would have torn him a new one by now, but we gotta protect the Chrysalis as it's mere moments away from hatching.
Arise, my daughter. Arise, Kerrigan.
By your will, Father, I live to serve. Let all who oppose the OVERMIND feel the wrath of the swarm.
Mother of God. Kerrigan, what have they done to you? Sarah, is that really you?
To an extent. I'm far more than I once was, Jim. You shouldn't have come here.
But the dreams. I dreamed you were still alive, that somehow you were calling to me.
I was. While I was in the Chrysalis, I instinctively reached out to you and Arcturus telepathically. But that was then, Jim. I'm one of the Zerg now, and I like what I am.
So, what? Are you gonna kill me now, darling?
You're not a threat to me, Jim. Be smart. Leave here now and never seek to confront the Zerg again.
Doesn't look like I had much choice.
The Overmind has its weapon, its queen. Kerrigan is regarded as being the single most powerful agent of the swarm, but is still nowhere near unlocking her full potential due to the conditioning she was put through as a ghost. So she invades a science vessel to figure out how to undo all of it. Anyways, we're introduced to some new characters. Never mind. We head back to Char, where we actually are introduced to a new character, Tassadar. Protoss Executor and resident best character in the whole game, gets on a call with Kerrigan purely to talk shit.
Mayhap, O Queen.
And challenge her to a duel where he, realizing that this is in fact Char, sends out a force projection to fight in his stead so as to distract the swarm's heavy hitters while his Dark Templar friends straight up murder a Cerebrate, and then he calls Kerrigan a dumbass for falling for the ruse just for good measure. What a guy.
So long as you continue to be so predictable, O Queen, I need not face you at all. You are your own worst enemy.
Kerrigan gets put on cleanup duty and has to clear out the dead Cerebrate's brood, but when the Overmind gets the brainy bunch together, it reveals that the Dark Templar made a fatal error when killing the Cerebrate. Due to some Dark Templar Protoss void magic stuff, the bloke who killed the Cerebrate, Zeratul,'s mind, came into brief contact with that of the Overmind. From this moment, the Overmind was able to divine the location of the Protoss' homeworld of Ire. Kerrigan is left behind to beat down any Protoss stragglers on Char, and taking everyone important for the swarm so Kerrigan can't get them killed too, the Overmind and its Cerebrates take off to take the fight to the Protoss themselves. It's now time to enact the Overmind's ultimate plan, to go mining for diamonds. The Overmind is so happy to be iced out that it sends you out to destroy a holy Protoss temple dedicated to the Xel'Naga, the ancient primordial creators of the Protoss and Zerg. You do this so that the Overmind can create a physical body for itself as the ultimate fuck you to the Protoss, and proving once and for all that the Zerg are the Xel'Naga's greatest creation. Like a magic grow animal capsule, the Overmind's body materializes in front of our very eyes, towering over the homeworld of the once proud Protoss, bringing the Zerg campaign to a triumphant close. I just love the structural choice of having the villains campaign right in the middle of the story. Whereas the Terran campaign was all about being manipulated and putting a dictator into power, the Zerg campaign just straight up tells you to... Like, just imagine being a Protoss right now. What could you even do in this situation? You are not ready for the amount of proper nouns that are about to be dropped on you. Hey, wake up. You're a Protoss Executor and your name is Artanis, but don't expect to be called anything except your job title. We're still doing StarCraft 1 naming conventions.
Entaro Adun, Executor.
Your boss, Judicator Aldaris, gives you the rundown of the situation. You've been sent as a replacement for Tassadar because he wasn't doing his job properly. As an Executor, he's been tasked with incinerating planets that the Zerg invade. However, Tassadar, being the best character, has opted to send his forces down to take out the Zerg manually without taking the humans out with him.
Clearly, Tassadar has failed us. You must not.
The Conclave, the Templars' ruling party, doesn't like this. Tassadar is no longer recognized as a Templar, meaning that in the last campaign, he was trolling Kerrigan and the Overmind completely independent of any outside orders. Anyways, it's time for a Protoss tutorial.
You must construct additional pylons.
Tearing down a hive cluster with our bestest friend in the whole wide world, Phoenix. I love Phoenix. He doesn't care about Protoss politics at all, he just wants to fight things. He's not my #1 character, but he's definitely on my podium. There's only one way this call could get more based.
I admit that Tassadar's desertion had shaken my faith.
Indeed, Aldaris. I would hope that the Judicator would put more faith in their Templar brethren.
Our best boy tells everybody about how the Zerg actually work, information he's learned from his time on Char chilling with the Dark Templar.
Consorting with the Fallen Ones is heresy.
Enough! Hear me, Executor, for I have learned much from the Dark Templar Prelate, Zeratul.
Phoenix, as a living example of real recognize real, actually hears Tassadar out and sets out to murder a Cerebrate. Unfortunately, Cerebrits can only be killed by proper Dark Templar Protoss Void magic stuff, so it's been resurrected. Side note, I don't think StarCraft 1 really explains all that well what sets the Dark Templar apart from the regular Templar. Basically, it all ties into the backstory of the Protoss themselves, how Ire was once this completely divided world. Amidst this aeon of strife, a Protoss named Kaz discovered the Kaideran crystals and their psionic link that they could create among the Protoss' minds called the Kala. The Kala is basically a connection between every Protoss that allow them to feel each other's emotions and thoughts. They are sharing memes that you cannot fathom. However, a couple of Protoss groups didn't accept the Kala, namely the Nerazim, that's the Dark Templar, and the Tal'Darim. They don't show up until StarCraft 2, so we don't really care about them right now. Because of this nonconformity, the rest of the Protoss decided to kick these bad boys out, and so much as hanging out with them is regarded as one of the greatest crimes against the Conclave. Because as you know, the biggest priority right now is stopping people from hanging out with people of different beliefs. It's not like there's any current situations on this planet that require our attention.
It's rewind time.
Unfortunately, Cerebrits can only be killed by proper Dark Templar Protoss Void magic stuff, so it's been resurrected. John Confirmation Bias Aldaris takes this as irrefutable proof that Tassadar is a Tacit dunce, so he sends you and Phoenix just to clear out a bunch of hive clusters. It goes pretty well, the hives are raised, and there's minimal losses, all that good stuff, but there's a wave of Zerg advancing on Phoenix's position.
We need immediate evac.
Belay that order. We're moving out.
Oop, wrong clip. How'd that get there? Knowing what Blizzard was capable of with their cutscenes by 2017, it's a bit of a shame that they didn't remake any StarCraft 1 cinematics. I bring it up here because the cutscene we have of Phoenix's last stand doesn't quite hit the same emotional chord that I think it should. What's supposed to be happening here is Phoenix has become so exhausted from fighting for so many hours on end that he physically cannot muster the willpower to keep his blades ignited. It's a good, powerful, iconic moment, and I wish it still had the same impact that it deserves. It's the exact moment the Templar begin to realize that the Conclave doesn't have its priorities in order.
Executor, I know that you are reluctant to leave Ire in this dark hour, and that you still grieve for the loss of your comrade, Phoenix. But remember that he lived and died as a Templar. We Judicator are called to look beyond such matters, to ensure the safety and future of our people. It is not the Zerg, but the rogue Tassadar, who represents the greatest threat to us now.
You and Aldaris are sent to Char to arrest Tassadar for thinking for himself. You find him on a platform up over the planet, hanging out with Jim Raynor. Aldaris wants to follow through with arresting Tassadar.
Arrest me? Ire burns at the touch of the Zerg. You travel all this way to arrest me?
Don't let it get to you, man. This happened to me once.
Who's taken aback that the Conclave still wants him in Protoss jail, seeing as how the fucking Overmind is on Ire. But he offers to surrender on only the condition that he and his Dark Templar buddies can take out the Cerebrits.
Once we have won, I shall gladly submit myself to the judgment of the Conclave.
So of course, Aldaris, hearing a reasonable request, goes apeshit.
Unthinkable.
But you opt to follow Taz and Jim because you're not a buffoon and you head straight to the planet's surface to find the Dark Templar Zeratul, because again, only Dark Templar Protoss Void magic stuff can permanently kill a Cerebrit. You are branded a traitor in the eyes of the Conclave for this.
Executor, by following Tassadar and attempting to rescue the Dark Templar, you have openly defied the will of the Conclave. Abandon this mad scheme now, and the Conclave may show you mercy.
Don't let him control you, Executor. The Judicator have long since steered the actions of the Templar to their own ends. It's time we acted of our own accord.
Protoss Commander, this is General Edmund Duke of the Terran Dominion Armada.
In the middle of our search for Zeratul, a Dominion fleet arrives, led by General Duke, who tells us, you're operating a little too close to Dominion base, so you gotta leave or else we're gonna, shoot you guys down.
Hey, shit ass.
We don't do that. We proceed into the base Zeratul's hiding in, make some Marine friends along the way.
Mind if we tag along?
Lose them to the worst unit in the game. And then we find Mr. O'Toole at the end and prepare to actually take on the swarm.
Greetings, Dark One. I have come to bring you home. I beg of you, Zeratul, return with us to Ire. Though they are petty and have in ignorance cursed your kind for generations, help me save our people.
Since our banishment long ago, we have never failed in our responsibility to Ire. Though it shall cause us great pain to see our homeland once more, we shall return with you, Tassadar. We will do what we can.
One interesting piece of Protoss technology is the Dragoon. It's one of the first units you get with the most advanced pathfinding AI in the game. In lore, they're basically a dead zealot put on turbo life support and loaded into a light tank. I mentioned this because Phoenix is back, baby!
The Executor told me of how you fell before the Zerg. How is it that you live and breathe?
Well, after my unfortunate defeat, my ruined body was recovered by our brethren. I now reside within the cold robotic shell of a Dragoon.
Old friend, would that this never came to pass.
Nonsense! There is no shame in defeat, so long as the spirit is unconquered, and I am still able to serve Aya to a degree.
He informs our pals of the situation at hand, how, despite the Zerg literally running shit on Ire, the Conclave is still more concerned with putting Tassadar in gay baby jail. Phoenix, the gigaballer he is, opts to join you in the squad against the Conclave, the same guys who just gave him a second chance at life.
Though I damn myself by doing so, I shall stand by you till the end.
Hello, base department?
You and the traitor Tassadar are to cease your resistance and surrender yourselves to the judgment of the Conclave. We will take the outlaw Zeratul into custody and deal with him as is written by the Collar's law.
Flee back to your masters, Aldaris, and huddle with them in darkness, for your actions shall set us all unto the Zerg.
We resist arrest for a good while, but seeing the length the Conclave would go to just to enforce their failing laws, Tassadar decides to surrender himself to Aldaris, telling him that he both regrets nothing and would absolutely do it again.
Executor, Aldaris, this madness must stop. The sight of my brethren slaughtering one another is more than I can stand. Though I fear you would doom us all, Aldaris, I surrender myself to the Conclave. End Taro Adun, Executor. Don't give up the fight. Aldaris, I submit myself to the Conclave's judgment. But know this, given the same choices again, I would surely have made them. I have sacrificed all that our world might live. I have sullied my honor. I have discarded my rank and standing. I have even broken our most ancient traditions. But never think that I would for one moment regret my actions. For I am Templar, and above all else, I have sworn to protect our homeworld till the end.
Entaro Adun, Executor. All seems lost now, but still we must fight on.
You and Phoenix hang back in space to plan, noting that Zeratul and the Dark Templar have seemingly abandoned us. Raynor joins the call and volunteers to help out wherever he can.
Tassadar laid it on the line for me and my crew on Char. I'd like to repay the debt. Besides, I'm a long way from home, surrounded by hostile aliens. I've got to do something.
We head back down to Ire and keep Jim out of the fight entirely because we can't repair his battlecruiser and you lose the mission immediately if he dies. We battle our way all the way to Tassadar when Aldaris and his crew show up to take us all in. Fuck, we fell for the trap! It's then that Zeratul materializes in front of us and talks so much shit to Aldaris that he just gives up right there.
What could you possibly know about our designs, blasphemer?
You speak of knowledge, Judicator. You speak of experience. I have journeyed through the darkness between the most distant stars. I have beheld the births of negative suns, and borne witness to the entropy of entire realities. Unto my experience, Aldaris, all that you have built here on Ioran
is but a fleeting dream, to dream from which your precious conclave shall awaken, finding themselves drowned in a greater nightmare.
Taro Adun, Executor. My gratitude to you for having secured my release knows no bounds. By all the gods, we may win yet.
Now that the band's back together, we can finally make an actual difference in the fight against the Swarm. The Overmind probably not expecting us to get this far, but all of its Cerebrates in one location. We head over there and wreck shit, using the Dark Templar Protoss void magic stuff to take them down permanently, until only one source of control over the Swarm remains.
The Overmind has come to destroy all that we hold dear, and assimilate us into itself. And I say to thee, this shall not come to pass. Ire shall not fall. Executor, I stand ready.
As do I.
Well, I guess all I have left is to see this through. The Zerg have taken everything from me. My home, my family, my friends. I know that nothing I do can bring those things back. But I'll be damned if I just sit on my hands and wait for the end. I want a piece of them, all right. I'm in.
Then let our actions speak for us. For Adun. For Ire.
We all know what has to be done. There's no point in sitting around pontificating. Let's go kill the Overmind and save not only Ire, but this whole sector. Everything has been leading up to this moment. We control both a Protoss and a Terran base, and are given what can only be described as fuck you money in the left corner of the map, allowing us to build the largest army in the entire game. Even Aldaris is rooting for us now, telling us how the Conclave messed up, and that we were the real heroes all along.
We sought to punish you, while it was we who were in error. You represent what is greatest in us all, and all our hopes go with you. Entaro Adun, brave sons of Ire.
Jim says what we're all thinking during this speech.
Wow. Does that mean they're gonna send some backup for us?
Nope. They don't do that. But with 30 missions, 3 campaigns, and 13 pages, holy shit, this video is never coming out, under our belts, we cut through the Zerg's hive clusters. We tear down any forces they send at us. We finally almost take down the Overmind. Yeah, this thing is way too powerful to take down, even with Dark Templar Protoss void magic stuff on our side. Tassadar has to make a hard decision.
Upgrade complete.
The Overmind has been weakened, but I fear we have sustained severe damage ourselves. I will steer the Gantrathor into a collision course with the Overmind. If I can channel enough of the Dark Templar's energy through the hull of the Gantrathor, I should be able to bring swift death to the accursed abomination. Remember us, Executor. Remember what was done here today. May Adun watch over you.
As the chaotic, swirling energies subsided, a heavy silence settled over the battlefields of Ire due to Tessidar's noble sacrifice. The Overmind was now dead, and the Zerg swarms were scattered and broken. But as the heroes surveyed their once glorious homeland, they realized that their victory had cost them all but their lives. Ire was left as nothing more than a smoldering ruin. Those few Protoss who survived the final battle could only wonder what the future would hold for their race. And far away, on the distant planet of Char, Kerrigan, the self-styled Queen of Blades, knew that the time of her ascension was at hand. So, yeah, that's StarCraft 1. All in all, I think it's a really solid sci-fi story. There's a lot that I really like here. The structure, the 3 campaigns leading right into each other was just really cool to see, and most of the characters, I'd say, worked pretty well. I think the order of the campaigns was a really good decision for both storytelling and for gameplay. Game design, I mean, whoo, there's a difference. Terran, being the most immediately familiar for both experienced RTS players and new players, is really a good choice. Having the Zerg campaign right after where you play as the villain faction was also really interesting, especially how it leads directly into the Protoss campaign a lot more fluidly than the Terran led into the Zerg, I'd argue. The only Protoss that had any actual dialogue up to that point was Tassadar, who literally just showed up, outplayed Kerrigan, which was, by the way, us, the player character, outplayed us, and then refused to elaborate. It leads the player to expect something insane out of the Protoss, something ridiculously advanced and alien, especially right after Zerg. Plus, most Protoss in their campaign explicitly see themselves as being above the Terran and Zerg, but seeing their struggles against the Overmind and the infighting between Tassadar and the Conclave really shows that they're not all that different from the Terran, not that different from us. The Terran and Protoss campaigns particularly have some of the most memorable characters and moments in the whole series. I really liked having Raynor join up with Tassadar during the Protoss campaign, going against the Conclave, which served almost as a proxy for the Dominion. It all came together pretty damn well, I'd say. Although I do wish that Minsk and the Dominion had more time to shine after the Terran campaign, and... Okay, here's a hot take. I don't think Kerrigan was that good a villain. I mean, listen, the whole New Gettysburg thing was fucking awesome, okay? That was one of the best moments in the whole game, in the whole series. But after the fact, when you find out what actually happened to Kerrigan, and you see, oh, I am Zerg now, I am the queen. Nothing happens. You know what happens? She blows up a single science vessel, and then she comes back to Char, and Tassadar shows up and is like, "Mayhap, O Queen," and just immediately fucking dunks on her. Okay, he shows up, trash talks her, fucking haha. I Star Wars Episode 8'd your ass, okay, and it was actually good. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine that much potential coming from this character. I can't really see where Blizzard would want to take her story, despite that weird tease at the end of the. Oh. This feels familiar.
What'd you say about Kerrigan? Listen, getting there! Get out of the way! Oh! No!
Oh, like, I am... Stop that beat, man! Stop that beat!
I am Jack Actual Real John.
What the fuck does that mean? It ain't that deep.
bitch!
Hi, it's me, Alexei Stukov from StarCraft Brood War. I think I need to explain some context because John Jack forgot to let a proper segue into the next 3 campaigns before getting his head obliterated. Basically, we're only halfway into the video because StarCraft 1 got an expansion pack the same year as its release called Brood War, which doubled the length of his storyline, as well as adding a whole metric ass ton of new units, characters, and missions. Now would be a good time to sit back, grab another drink, get some popcorn, have some more chicken, have some more pie. Because things are about to get I'm sorry. I tried to make the ram word, but it just didn't. Just play the transition. Just play the transition.
Ire has fallen. The Conclave is disbanded. The Overmind may be gone, but the Zerg are still running rampant, now disorganized and feral. All the remaining Protoss can do is run.
Greetings, Executor. Though we all grieve for the loss of mighty Tassadar, we must find the resolve to carry on.
Aldaris is starting to get a grip, working with you, Zeratul, Raynor, and Artanis, the player character from the last campaign, to get off-world. Zeratul suggests that we seek refuge on Shakuras, the homeworld of the Dark Templar. Seeing no other option, you guys go for it. You fight through a province worth of Zerg, picking up whatever survivors you can on the way to the nearest warp gate. There's no tutorials this time around, no more training wheels. StarCraft 1 is for little babies. With Brood War, it's the big boys' time to play, and we play really fucking hard. Oh look, the mission's over.
I have located the warp gate. We must hurry and evacuate the colonized survivors before the Zerg return.
The crew makes it to the warp gate, but Raynor and Phoenix opt to stay behind so that they can fight off any Zerg that try to follow you. But as you find out as you reach Shakuras, a couple stragglers did indeed make it through the gate.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Torridor Zeratul. Glad I am to see that you've returned home after these many decades. But the strange guests that have followed you here seem ill-tempered.
Well met, my brother. Indeed, these creatures known as the Zerg have no regard for the sanctity of life. Once we have secured this area, I shall tell you everything I know about them in council.
I'm sure the matriarch will be eager to hear your tale as well.
After meeting up with some Dark Templar fellas and cleaning up the remaining Zerg, Raynor gives us a call saying that he and Phoenix are going to close the gate on their side to slow the Zerg down.
You kids just remember to play nice from now on, okay? Wish us luck.
The crew on Shakuras meets up with Rajagal.
I am Rajagal.
Rajagal, the matriarch of the Nerazim, to discuss the plan for getting all the bugs off the planet. She explains that there's a Xel'Naga temple on Shakuras that could blow them all up, but of course we can't just power it up right now. No. We need the Uraj and the Callus crystals formed of pure dark and not dark Templar energies, not in that order. But before we can even address the Infinity Stones, 2 Cerebrits have already appeared on Shakuras, so we have to clear them out first. The Zerg might not be quite as uncontrolled as we'd originally thought. We kill the Cerebrits, of course, only for Kerrigan to arrive and call us good little boys and girl. She requests an audience with Rajagal to inform us of a very important development.
Relax, warriors. Despite what you may think, I haven't come here to fight you.
This is laughable. Do you truly expect us to believe that your intentions here are honorable? That these Zerg here are not under your sway?
Look, the Cerebrits you've killed were my enemies as well. If you let me explain, I'm sure you'll understand that—
You are the enemy of all who live, Kerrigan. What makes you think we would have anything to do with you?
Because, Zeratul, I bring news of an event that threatens us all. If you'd be so good as to escort me back to your citadel, I'll tell you everything I know.
Very well, Kerrigan. We shall hear what you have to say. But be warned, we will not suffer your treachery here.
The Cerebrits from the first Zerg campaign are merging themselves together to form a new Overmind. Kerrigan, having been freed from the first Overmind when it died, does not want to fall under the new one's control, but Aldaris doesn't really want to hear her out.
I know that this is a lot to take in all at once, but you've got to believe me.
There's more at
She
stake here than...
lies. She is infested to the core. I, for one, will not listen to any of this.
Silence, Judicator.
Some things never change. Zeratul sticks to his guns that we should focus on getting the Uraj and the Callus, so Kerrigan offers to help us out with that. Rajagal makes a point of asking us all to give Kerrigan a chance to prove herself.
For the time being, Kerrigan will assist you in your endeavors. Though she has been your enemy, it is enough that we share the same agenda now. Allow her time enough to prove herself to you, and you may find her to be a valued ally.
Interesting. And we head off to the planet Braxis to obtain the Uraj. We proceed to destroy a Terran base, unprovoked, and then set up shop. Apparently this used to be a Protoss colony that was abandoned a while back. The Terrans only arrived recently, so I guess that makes them the aggressor? Okay. Because of some bullshit, we can't build Stargates on this mission. That means there's no air units for the uninformed. It doesn't matter, because we have Kerrigan, who I keep in the back of the base because if she dies, I lose the mission. We reeve our way to the crystal and head home soon after, only to run into a blockade and receive a call from one Alexei Stukov, Vice Admiral of the United Earth Directorate's fleet. Apparently, a fleet was sent all the way from Earth, that's where humans come from if you didn't know, to take over the Terran Dominion and get the rest of humanity on board with the UED.
These humans have come a long way to make war on us.
Artanis smugly calls them all dunces for trying to challenge the Protoss, but Zeratul makes a point of reminding them how useful Raynor and co were on Ire.
Yes, Artanis, we did vanquish the Overmind, but we did so with the help of humans. Do not be so quick to underestimate them.
Of course. Executor, I shall test the mettle of these humans by scouting ahead of your ships and finding a way through this blockade. In Toro Tassadar! Executor, with the power generator destroyed, the missile turrets on this platform are no longer operational. However, we will need reinforcements to finish the job.
Reinforcements are en route now, young Templar.
A lot of the time, no-build missions like this can get kind of annoying because they lock a limited amount of units into tight corridors and pull traps and infested Terrans out of nowhere. This time, however, we have to methodically work our way across a massive platform, taking down segments one at a time, getting a growing variety of reinforcements with each segment destroyed. We actually get detection on this one so we can scout out and prepare for the traps instead of just running into them blind. Just an all-around solid mission. Now that the UEDs turned tail and ran off, we can focus on getting the other crystal, the Callus, which is apparently on Char. Not only is it on the worst possible planet, but it's in the immediate vicinity of the new Overmind. We cannot kill it. Our only options are to get the Callus and leave or knock the Overmind unconscious for a bit. We have access to a hive cluster under Kerrigan's control and manage to beeline it to the crystal and head back to Shakuras.
Executor, the Callus is ours. Let us depart this wretched world and return to Shakuras, provided there is still a Shakuras to return to.
Congratulations, Executor. Your success has brought us the promise of hope against the Zerg. However, we face a new threat within our own ranks.
Upon our arrival, we're informed that Aldaris did not in fact get a grip, and has started an open revolt against the Dark Templar. Zeratul and Artanis are in disbelief, but Rajagal makes it clear the Judicator must be dealt with immediately.
As Matriarch of the Dark Templar, and Custodian of this world, I hereby order you to terminate Judicator Aldaris, and quell this untimely uprising without delay. There will be no dissent among us while the Zerg are poised to strike.
There's something amiss here. The Matriarch has always been a wise and gentle soul. Though there is some merit in her decision, this is very unlike her.
That may well be. But right now, we have a friend to kill. May Adun forgive us. Be advised, Executor. Our forces are divided. Aldaris has taken control of our Templar warriors and arbiters. It is possible that he may even send Archons against us.
Fear not, comrades, for we have Archons of our own. Should the dire need arise, all Dark Templar may emerge to become Dark Archon. Engage the enemy.
Didn't think I'd be caught so easily, did you, Executor? You have only destroyed a phantom.
Finished, Judicator. Surrender your remaining forces and join us in eradicating the Zerg.
I would sooner die, Dark One, than tarnish the memory of Ire by joining with you. Your fate was sealed the moment your matriarch allied herself with the Queen of Blades. Those of us still loyal to Ire will never be slaves to Kerrigan and her broods.
Aldaris, be reasonable. Kerrigan has changed. She no longer seeks to enslave anyone. Do not force us to destroy you.
You can no longer afford to be so naive, Artanis. While you were securing the crystals, I discovered that your matriarch has been harboring a dark secret. She has been manipulated by
I have no time for this.
What have you done?
I just cleaned up your mess, Protoss. Don't be so squeamish.
Wretched creature. This was our Protoss matter. You had no right to interfere. Be gone from this world. You are no longer welcome among us.
Fine. I've done what I came here to do. I've ensured the destruction of the renegade Cerebrits, and I used you to do it. Have fun, mighty Protoss. We'll be seeing each other again, real soon.
Heartbreaking stuff. We head back to HQ to Seethe. Rajgal is clearly deteriorating, but she assures us that she's fine, claiming that she's just stressed out because of everything that's been happening, which... yeah, that tracks. All we can do now is wipe the Zerg off the map. Artanis and Zeratul enter the Xel'Naga temple and charge up the crystals. If you're a terrible person like me, you'd use the infinite time before the temple's activation to build cannons and cover half the map. We could probably destroy the Zerg just like this without need for the temple, but I'm not calling the shots here. The Protoss campaign ends with a safe Shakuras, the Zerg wiped off the face of the planet with no remaining trace of Kerrigan's influence. I hope the other campaigns end on such a positive note.
So, Gerard, I suspect you have a good reason for pulling me away from my duties.
Your vodka can wait, my good Alexei. Come, stand here. You need to see this.
I know all about the Zerg, Gerard. We've all seen the tapes 100.
You've seen nothing. Dissecting a dead Zerg in a lab is one thing. Unleashing them on men is another. You must go into this with both eyes open. Once started, there's no going back. Are you prepared to go all the way with this, Alexei?
Yes. Yes, I am prepared to go all the way, my good Admiral.
Good. Good. I knew I could count on you.
Admiral, the colonist base will be overrun in a matter of minutes. Shall we intervene?
Take us into orbit, Mr. Malmsteen. We've seen enough.
The Brood War Terran campaign has a bit more going on from the get-go. Whereas the Protoss was a direct follow-up to their previous campaign with most of the same characters, the Terran campaign follows the new arrivals to the Caprulu sector, the United Earth Directorate. We learned that the UED has been monitoring Terran colonies for quite some time now, but only after hearing word of the new Overmind, the ruling councils decided to send a sizable fleet, headed by Admiral Gerard de Gaulle, to repossess the human-owned territories in the sector. As captain of the fleet under de Gaulle, our mission in the UED campaign is to bring down the Terran Dominion and overthrow Emperor Arcturus Mengsk.
Attention, defenders of the United Earth Directorate. This is Admiral de Gaulle. You were all briefed before we left Earth, so you know that we have come here to conquer this sector in the name of humanity. Should any of you have second thoughts about performing your assigned duties, be reminded that if we fail in our mission here, not one of us will be going home. We stand or fall together in this forsaken wasteland.
After hearing de Gaulle's announcement to the fleet, Alexei Stukov gives us a call and we get a pretty good look at how he's a lot more casual and down-to-earth, unintended, than most other characters. He lets us know that our first mission is to head down to Braxis and take down a Dominion base to steal some documents. But upon our arrival, we find that we don't have nearly enough resources to take down any base, especially one as fortified as this one. It's then that we find one Samir Duran, a rebel lieutenant loyal to the Confederacy. He offers us his aid in getting through the Dominion base's defenses in exchange for amnesty, and a little confused as to why the stranger just offered his services in their first meeting, but taking any help he can get. Stukov accepts Duran's aid, and we sneak past the Dominion's big guys and get the intel we need.
Mission successful, Admiral.
Excellent, Lieutenant. This planet's primary defenses are now crippled. Our TAC teams can now begin to decode the Dominion security data link.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Captain, Vice Admiral Stukov has informed me of your flawless sortie upon Braxis. I must commend you for beginning our campaign with such a decisive victory.
Admiral de Gaulle tells us to give ourselves a big pat on the back as he briefs us on our next mission, to creep our way into a Dominion shipyard and steal as many battlecruisers as we can fit in our backpacks. Duran makes a point of warning us about the Dominion's fortifications at the shipyard, only to be told off by de Gaulle for speaking above his rank.
You should expect some sort of reprisal from Emperor Mengsk shortly.
Ah, the turncoat. I suggest that you pay keen attention to rank when you address the captain and myself, Lieutenant Duran. Is that understood?
I really like this cold, authoritative professionalism that De Gaulle exudes when he speaks. It really gives this impression that he's earned his reputation as the UED's most respected admiral. It contrasts really nicely with how the younger Stukov acts so casual and informal while still being a capable leader in his own right.
You're beginning to show your age, Gerard. Give the boy some credit. He just tipped us off to a preeminent attack.
However useful he may prove to be, Alexei, he will always be a traitor in my eyes. And you know that I cannot abide a traitor.
All the wins we score against the Dominion in this campaign really do feel like we earned them, largely because of De Gaulle and Stukov's characterization. Brood War really does go the extra mile in the character department. We have 2 less missions to develop the story and characters each campaign, but almost every character we're introduced to feels so memorable and unique. We get to the shipyards and bawl our way through as many why did I write that? We bawl our way to as many battle cruisers as we can get our hands on, somehow managing to pilot each of them perfectly with only 1 person each. The Dominion is made aware of our shenaniganery, and Edmund Duke, assuming we're just some other local militia who got lucky, demands that we stand down. Stukov gets on the call and tells him, "Nuh-uh," and we get into a big battlecruiser fight. Guys will see this and just think, hell yeah. The Dominion now knows what the UED's up to in the sector, so we need to make our moves much quicker. Duran informs us of the Psi Disruptor on Tarsonis, a device that can scramble communication amongst the Zerg hive mind. The newcomer to the UED ranks manages to convince De Gaulle that the best option to ensure victory against the Dominion is to destroy the Psi Disruptor. But Stukov is unsure if letting the Zerg stay as organized as they are is really such a good idea. It's here that De Gaulle reminds Stukov and reveals to us the true purpose of the UED's presence in the sector, to enslave the new Overmind and take control of the swarm. Now it makes a little bit more sense why De Gaulle would want to destroy the Psi Disruptor. You don't want to go through the effort of taking control of the Overmind by force only for it to be invalidated by the hive mind being disrupted. After clearing out the nearby hive clusters, Duran arrives at the Disruptor, only to be informed by Ghost under Stukov's orders that they'll be taking it back to disassemble it themselves. Admiral De Gaulle is pleased with this outcome, so he calls you good little boys and redirects our focus to raiding the Dominion's capital on Core Hall. We're given the option to disable either the battlecruisers or nuclear warheads before raiding the city of Augustgrad, so we take out the nukes because I did the battlecruisers last playthrough and I want to switch it up before we head out to kick down Arcturus' front door. The fight, regardless, is still pretty challenging. The entire Dominion stands between us and Mensk, and they put up a pretty damn good fight, but the defenses inevitably fall under the weight of the combined might of the United Earth Directorate, and with all other options expended, Arcturus attempts to reason with the invading fleet.
Captain, I'm tracking the Dominion flagship NORAD-3 in low orbit. Emperor Minsk may be attempting an escape. Receiving incoming transmission.
This is Emperor Minsk of the Terran Dominion. I wish to parley with your executive officer at once.
So, the elusive Arcturus Minsk at last. I was hoping to speak with you before we finished our business here. I am Admiral Gerard Dugas, and I must commend you, sir, for holding back our advance for as long as you have. You are indeed a worthy opponent.
My thanks to you, sir. But you must know that your victory here means little to me. It might have taken me a while, but I did overthrow the Confederacy. I'll overthrow your rule as well.
That seems unlikely, sir, seeing as how you'll be publicly executed along with the rest of your ranking officers.
You wouldn't dare.
The man who crowns himself emperor speaks to me of daring. You have far outlived your reputation, citizen Minsk. Captain, prepare to take the emperor into custody.
You'll have to postpone those plans, gentlemen.
Sir, the rebel command ship Hyperion has just entered our sensor range. It is accompanied by a small Protoss fleet.
What? Who are these intruders?
Jim Raynor? What the hell are you doing here?
I'm pulling your ass out of the fire, Arcturus, so shut up and sit tight. Make no mistake about it, we've got us a serious score to settle. But right now, a mutual acquaintance of ours wants you alive. Prepare your ships for dimensional recall.
This is intolerable! They're escaping right out from under us! Track them! Track them!
Captain, We have tracked the fugitives Minsk and Raynor to the devastated Protoss homeworld of Ire.
Things somehow got more complicated, and de Gaulle's composure begins to crack.
I don't understand this. Why would the Protoss harbor these men?
Stukov manages to track the escapees down to a remote stronghold on Ire, so we set out to catch them. Duran is positioned to the northeast to keep any outside threats away. We take note that the warp gate that Raynor used to escape has been reactivated, seemingly attracting Zerg to our location. We don't have much time. After working their way up the map and securing the warp gate, the UED takes down Raynor's command center right as a mass of Zerg biosignatures close in on Duran's location. Duran, however, has moved his forces out of the way. Something strange is going on.
Lieutenant Duran, this is Stukov. Come in. I'm tracking a massive Zerg swarm in your quadrant. Respond, damn it!
That is strange, Vice Admiral. My scanners don't show any Zerg at all. Maybe you have a technical problem with your equipment.
Lieutenant, if these Zerg get through, we'll never be able to capture Minsk. I'm giving you a direct order to return to your position and reinforce my troops.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but it seems your signal's fading out. I couldn't make out that last part. I'll try to re-establish contact later.
Duran! Captain, your position will be overrun by superior Zerg numbers within 15 minutes. I suggest you retreat back to the fleet immediately. Inform Admiral Dugal that I have a personal matter to take care of.
Raynor and Minsk have escaped again. Stukov has gone AWOL. Dugal doesn't take kindly to Duran's assertion that Stukov might be a traitor, but soon after we learn that the Vice Admirals kept his Sidus Raptor intact and brought it to Braxis, we are given a direct order by Admiral Dugal to raid Stukov's base and deal with him
appropriately.
How can I be of service?
How do you work this damn thing? Computer, locate Admiral Stukov.
Access code denied.
I hate computers.
I'll take care of it.
What's up?
Where's Stukov?
Don't tell those traitors anything, Harry.
Wax 'em, boys.
Help!
Right away. You got it. Right away. Of course. I'll take care of it. Right away. I'll take care of it.
Oh, another computer. Says hit any key. Well, which one's the any key?
Security cameras activated. Goliath repair bay located in Sector 4.
If we can get over there, we might be able to hijack those Goliaths.
How can I be of service? Right away. You got it.
Access code denied.
Hey, who's messing with the computers?
Oh, give me the damn access codes before I blow an aggression inhibitor.
I ain't telling you nothing. Wait, I'll tell you. It's, Farnham.
Access code accepted.
Thanks. Oops.
Take care of it. What do you need? You got it. What do you need?
Fire it up.
Report
Yeah.
Of course. I'll take care of it. You got it. Of course. I'll take care of it. Right away. You got it. What do you need? Vice Admiral Stukov. I am here under orders to terminate your command.
Lieutenant Duran, I'm not surprised. We both know exactly what it is that you're here to terminate. Get on with it.
Say goodnight, Stukov.
To hell with you.
Lieutenant Duran, report your situation immediately.
Gerard, old friend, you do indeed have a traitor in your midst. But it's not me. Duran. He has been playing us both from the start. He convinced you to destroy the Psi Disruptor, even though it was our best chance at defeating the Zerg. And then on Ire, he allowed the Zerg to overrun us even as we had the fugitives in our grasp. I came here to activate the one hope we have of defeating them. And you killed me for it. Duran is your enemy, Gerard. I suspect that he may even be infested as well. Use the disruptor, Gerard. Finish our operation. Let my death have at least some meaning.
Alexei! Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Computer, where the hell is Lieutenant Duran?
That treacherous, two-timing, backstabbing, deceitful, perfidious apostate! Duran! More like ran away from the consequences of his actions. Got him! Duran's gone. Vanished. But he made sure to rig the Psi Disruptor to explode so we can't use it against the Swarm. All we can do now is try to stop it. We rush our way to the Disruptor. We have to fight through a small army of Zerg on the way there, giving credence to Stukov's assertion that Duran's been working with the Swarm. We manage to claim the Disruptor and leave for Char to finish our mission. We need its power more than ever if we want to take the Overmind for our own. It's time to go to Char. Immediately upon setting foot on the planet, we're struck with what feels like endless Zerg, even with the Psi Disruptor's help. Invulnerable sunken colonies impaling our troops, a super mega ultralisk laying siege on our base, respawning mere minutes after it's killed, even stronger than before. An onslaught of volatile infested soldiers raining acid on our boys. Quickly, Dougal comes to realize that this is in fact Char. But we have a mission to complete, and this is our only chance to accomplish it, pushing through the vast hive clusters, armed with the full force of the United Earth Directorate's fleet, and the raw determination to prove that our journey from Earth, that our struggles to stand on our own so far from home, and that Alexei Stukov's death were not all for nothing. We take down a seemingly insurmountable amount of Zerg, and nearly all of the Swarm's most powerful agents. After a grueling battle, the Overmind is ours and the UED's mission is complete. We're finally ready to—
Excuse me, Admiral, but I'd like to introduce someone to you.
Duran? You son of a bitch. What's the meaning of this?
Admiral Dougal, I've heard a lot about you.
What the hell are you?
I am Kerrigan. The Zerg you've killed here, and the Overmind which you've come to collect, are mine. As is our mutual friend, Lieutenant Duran. You see, Admiral, there are a number of groups in this sector who feel that your involvement here causes certain complications. My associates and I intend to make sure that your reign is short-lived.
You may find that difficult, you abomination. Seeing as how I possess the means to disrupt your control of the Zerg.
Ah, you're referring to your vaunted Psi Disruptor. It won't last you forever, Admiral. Sooner or later, I'll destroy it. Then I'll show you what the Zerg are really capable of. Oh, and by the way, Admiral, your friend Stukov was twice the man you are. I'm glad you saved me the trouble of having to kill him.
You know, suddenly this victory feels awfully hollow. I'm not so sure the UED's reign is gonna last that long anymore. Now, A little context. When Raynor and Phoenix were marooned on Ire in the Protoss campaign, Kerrigan recruited them to her cause, making a point of not telling them about the Shakuris incident. After getting them tenuously on her side, Kerrigan had Jim go rescue Mengsk and his loyalists so that she could use the combined might of the Terran, Protoss, and Zerg to take down the UED's presence in the sector and take the swarm for her own. Got that? Cool. Now wake up. You're a blob of sentient flesh bound to the will of the Queen of Blades. You're needed to help spread out what little control she still has over the swarm, since it's been pretty much entirely enslaved by the UED. Unfortunately, signals from the Psi Disruptor have reached Kerrigan's main base on Tarsonis, causing her brood to go apeshit, so we need to cull the herd before we're left with nothing.
The Psi Disruptor is causing me some very serious problems. Although I've regained control of my forces here, it's taking more and more concentration just to keep them in line.
Oh, my heart's breaking for you, Kerrigan. Now exactly why was it that you asked Phoenix and I to bring Mengsk to you?
Are you still suspicious that I'll kill him for abandoning me to the Zerg? I've gotten over it, Jim. We can't afford to let petty hatreds jeopardize our plans for the UED.
That's reassuring.
After sorting that out, we reconvene with Raynor and Mengsk to go over the first step in our plan to repossess the swarm. Take down that darn Psi Disruptor so it stops disrupting our Psi. Make no mistake though, nobody really wants to help Kerrigan, her being a scary Zerg lady now, but their only remaining options are to either help her out or let the UED stay in power, and the UED having explicitly stated their plans to execute Mengsk, and probably Raynor too now, are seen as the greater of these two evils. For now at least. After a lot of convincing, Raynor sends his troops down to take down the Psi Disruptor's power generators, weakening the device, while Kerrigan, using one of Mengsk's Psi emitters, takes control of the feral Zerg in the area, and after fielding an absurd army of creepy crawlies, we demolish the Psi Disruptor. Let me repeat myself. Kerrigan managed to control this many Zerg immediately after the Psi Disruptor was powered down, while being completely unaffected by the new OVERMIND. There's a reason the original OVERMIND saw her as its greatest creation.
Now that the Psi Disruptor has been destroyed and Kerrigan has regained control of her minions, I fear that she will forget our pact and turn on us.
I know what you mean, Phoenix. I'd love to believe that she's on the level, but there's a part of me that just knows better. However, I do believe that she's serious about taking out the UED. The only real question left is what happens to us when she wins.
If you ask me, she's completely untrustworthy. But so long as she'll help me retake Core Hall, I'll work with her.
Shut up, Arcturus. If I wanted your damn opinion, I would have beaten it out of you. And in case you forgot, you're the reason she became what she is in the first place.
You boys should really learn to play nice with each other.
Raynor, Phoenix, and Arcturus begin to ponder the ramifications of Kerrigan regaining the swarm, just as she arrives to ask for more help, and Phoenix volunteers himself to lead a raid on the Kelmorian Combine to plunder their resources. So we land in the mines of Moria and start tearing shit down, stealing resources and infesting command centers to make our forces stronger for the attack on Core Hall. After obtaining the required resources, Phoenix and co return to plan the final assault on the UED.
Then let's waste no time. Every moment we sit here means that the UED's defenses will be that much stronger, and I want nothing to stand between us and the retaking of my planet. We've discussed this plan 100 times. Commence the damn attack.
Excellent work, my Cerebrate. The UED's defenses are broken. Arcturus, you may take possession of this world with my blessings.
Don't be snide, Kerrigan. This was part of the deal, remember? I've earned this. I am Emperor of the Dominion again. I'll be sending General Duke to establish my base of operations in Augustgrad.
I hope you make the most of your reign.
Core Hall is retaken and regifted to Arcturus Mengsk. Phoenix and Raynor are chilling in the meantime, preparing to move on with their lives, while Kerrigan and Duran are discussing the next step of their nefarious plot, particularly what to do with their allies, seeing as how they have no further use for them.
Though they have proven themselves useful, it might be dangerous to allow them to live. Without the services of General Duke, Mengsk will be easy to deal with. But Raynor and Phoenix are uncannily resourceful. They must all be eradicated. Cerebrate, I want both General Duke's and Phoenix's bases destroyed. Leave no one alive.
My queen, if I may suggest a strategy. Both the Protoss and Terran forces are resting after our previous victory. If we attack immediately, while most of them are asleep and unaware, we can whittle down their defenses with relative ease.
Clever. How long after our initial attack can we expect them to regroup and retaliate?
I'd say in 6 minutes.
That only gives us enough time to launch a surprise attack against one base, but it is a sound plan. Cerebrate, feel free to launch your initial attack against either base. Failure is not an option. Slaughter them all in my name.
All units prepare for retaliation. Kerrigan caught us with our pants down, but it's
Our
time
forces are under attack.
back.
Continue your attack,
Require more
Cerebrate.
minerals.
Their defenses won't last long against us.
Our forces are under attack.
This is a betrayal most foul, Kerrigan. We were fools to have gone along with this charade.
You're right, Phoenix. I used you to get the job done. And you played along just like I knew you would. You Protoss are also headstrong and predictable. You're your own worst enemies.
That's ironic. I can remember Tassadar teaching you a very similar lesson on Char.
I took that lesson to heart, Praetor. Now, are you ready to die a second time?
The Kala awaits me, Kerrigan. And although I am prepared to face my destiny, you'll not find me easy prey.
Then that shall be your epitaph.
Well, if it isn't little Kerrigan, I had a feeling we'd be meeting each other again. You got a lot to answer for, little girl.
General Duke, you know I always wanted to have you killed. This is kind of exciting for me.
Do your worst then, girl. You ain't taking Edmund Duke without a fight.
Our forces are under attack.
We had a deal.
Oh, come on, Arcturus. Did you really think I'd allow you to come into power again? You practically fed me to the Zerg on Tarsonis. You're directly responsible for the hell I've been through. Did you honestly think I'd let you get away with that?
But you said revenge was secondary to defeating the UED.
I lied. I liberated this planet because it was the UED's primary staging point, not because I was under any obligation to you. I used you to destroy the Psi Disruptor. And now that I've got my broods back, you're no longer necessary for my plans. I think I'll leave you here, Arcturus, among the ashes of your precious dominion. I want you to live to see me rise to power, and I want you to always remember, in your most private moments, that it was you who turned me loose in the first place.
Phoenix! No.
What are you worried about, Jim? He died the way all Protoss hoped to, in combat.
He died because you betrayed him. How many more noble souls do you need to consume before you're satisfied? How many more people need to die before you realize what you've become?
You don't even know what you're talking about, Jim.
Don't I? I'll see you dead for this, Kerrigan. For Phoenix, and all the others who got caught between you and your mad quest for power.
Tough talk, Jimmy. But I don't think you have what it takes to be a killer.
It may not be tomorrow, darling. It may not even happen with an army at my back. But rest assured, I'm the man who's gonna kill you someday. I'll be seeing you.
Edmund Duke is dead. Phoenix is dead. For all this time. Raynor and Minsk are allowed to live purely because Kerrigan doesn't see them as a threat without their allies. Hindsight really is a bitch. Now it's time to turn our attention to the Overmind. We can't kill it, not without any Dark Templar Protoss void magic stuff, and Kerrigan's made a proper enemy of Zeratul back in the Protoss campaign, so we gotta get a little mischievous if we're gonna get the Dark Templar on our side. Shakuris' capital of Telemetros is powered by a network of pylons. This is terrible city design, because pylons can be exploded. We send Duran to pull up to Telemetros' outskirts, rig the pylons to, you guessed it, explode, retreat to a safe location, and fucking nuke this Protoss settlement as a distraction. You see, we came to Shakuris on this beautiful morning of August 6, 1945, not purely to blow up the Dark Templar's capital, but so that we could also swoop in and kidnap Matriarch Rajagal amidst the chaos. Duran, being incredibly behind the curve, doesn't get why we put in all this effort until Zeratul calls demanding Rajagal back, so Kerrigan strikes up a deal. Zeratul will send his Dark Templar homeboys down to Char to kill the new Overmind, and once they're done with that,
I'll allow her to return to you.
Raj Al Ghul robotically backs her up, and Zeratul, seeing nothing suspicious about his matriarch, agrees to Kerrigan's terms. Zeratul sends his boys to take down the Overmind, tearing through the UED stronghold and claiming the finishing blow for himself. Of course, Zeratul didn't pay any attention to Kerrigan's wording in that call, so when it's time for her to return Rajagal to her people...
Rajagal, do you wish to return to your tribe?
No, my queen. I wish only to serve you and remain at your side.
What treachery is this, Kerrigan? This pathetic creature cannot possibly be Rajagal.
I promised that I'd allow her to return to you, Zeratul, but it looks to me like she doesn't want to go.
You have corrupted her. Somehow you have poisoned her thoughts. Restore her to her rightful self, or you will pay dearly for this offense, Kerrigan.
Sometime before the Protoss campaign, Kerrigan and Rajagal's will psionically dominated. Throughout the entirety of Brood War, the matriarch was a slave to the swarm. Kerrigan had been playing everybody from the start.
Not bad, huh?
Go ahead, call the police. They can't unlobotomize your matriarch. But Zeratul thinks he can, so he takes Rajagal, puts her in a jar so he can operate on her, and, well, we can't allow that. Little does he know, the entire swarm has been mobilized to obliterate the Protoss encampment on Char. With his back against the wall, and basically all of his friends dead, Zeratul has to make a difficult choice.
Damn you, Kerrigan, for what I must do.
Thank you, Zeratul. You have freed me from her vile control at last. You have always served me with honor. Thus, I must ask you to watch over my tribe. Into your hands I give the future.
I can hardly believe this. You've killed your own matriarch.
Better that I killed her than let her live as your slave, Kerrigan.
Well, I have misjudged you, warrior. You are worthy indeed. You are free to go.
Kerrigan allows him, and what few Protoss are left to go home, carrying the shame of their failure with them.
You will regret this decision, Kerrigan. We shall meet again.
Zeratul is running back to Shakuris and looking for Artanis to regroup, but on the way there, his crew picks up some Protoss power signatures on some random moon, so he opts to investigate. On the surface, he finds a really shady Terran compound, which is the source of these Protoss emanations. The Terrans, for some reason unknown to our disgraced prelate, have put Protoss warriors into stasis chambers. With each new discovery in the research station, Zeratul becomes significantly more concerned as to what these humans are up to. Not only are they studying captive Protoss here, but Zerg as well. Something strange is afoot. It's then that Zeratul discovers the most distressing experiment in this unit.
I've never seen a creature like this before.
Test subject 29 classified. Protoss Zerg hybrid, imperfect cryohibernation. Psionic emanations minimal.
No. Magnificent, isn't it? Kerrigan's consort. Is this part of her twisted schemes?
No. Young Kerrigan could not have engineered this grand experiment. Although her rebirth into this Zerg swarm has sped up my progress, I can assure you that this endeavor is quite beyond her narrow understanding.
If you are not her pawn, then what are you?
I am a servant of a far greater power. A power that has slept for countless ages, and is reflected in the creature within that cell.
Have you any conception of what you've created here? Do you have any idea what this hybrid is capable of?
Of course I do. This creature is the completion of a cycle. Its role in the cosmic order was preordained when the stars were young. Behold the culmination of your history.
All I behold is an abomination.
Your violence, young prodigal, is typical, as is your inability to comprehend the greater scheme of things. You can destroy all of the specimens here. It will do you no good. For I have seeded the hybrid on many, many worlds. You will never find them all before they awaken. And when they do, your universe will be changed. Forever.
Whatever Duran is overseeing here, it's in service of something far beyond the scope of anything we've seen in this game. Zeratul leaves, and he doesn't find Artanis on his way back. All he can do is sit with this forbidden knowledge and ponder in terror at its implications. Back to the main story. Kerrigan is just chilling on Char, and she's just sort of plotting her next moves. Nothing really bad can happen right now. We're just relaxing. Wrong! There's not one, not two, but 3 sizable fleets barreling towards us.
You sound worried, Kerrigan. Have I caught you at a bad time?
Not at all, Arcturus. How'd you manage to scrape up your new fleet? Been raiding the salvage dumps again?
I called in a few favors, made a few concessions. You'd be surprised to see how many special interest groups in this sector want to see you dead.
I'm sorry to have to disappoint your new friends, Arcturus, but you really shouldn't have attempted this stunt. It'll take more than your 3 little fleets to bring me down.
3 fleets?
Don't play dumb, Arcturus. I've already spotted the other 2 fleets.
Kerrigan, this is Artanis. My brethren and I have come to avenge the deaths of Phoenix, the Matriarch, and all of the other Protoss who fell before the Swarm. It is long past time you paid for your crimes against our people.
When it rains, it pours.
The Protoss, too. Care to take a guess as to who the 3rd fleet is?
No need to guess. It's Dugal and the remainder of the UED fleet.
That is correct, Kerrigan. This is Admiral Dugal. I am giving you one last chance to surrender your forces and submit to the sovereign authority of the United Earth Directorate.
Gee, that's a tough one, Admiral. You'll have to let me think for a minute. You know, Admiral, I think I'll just massacre your remaining troops now and watch you die in agony. How would that be?
You vastly underestimate me, my dear.
I don't think so, Admiral. You see, at this point, I'm pretty much the queen bitch of the universe. And not all of your little soldiers or spaceships will stand in my way again.
Yeah, things just got out of hand. Duran's vanished to work at Unit 731, 99% of the swarm is on the surface of Char and can't make it to the platform in time, and literally everybody we've made an enemy of has decided to jump us all at the same time. There's no gimmicks to the final mission of Brood War, no objective to bring a crystal to, no one structure to destroy. With our back against the proverbial wall, and the whole sector taking up arms to tear us down, the Dominion, the Templar, the UED, all putting aside their differences and saying fuck you to Kerrigan, we're left with only one objective: destroy all enemy forces.
Savor this victory, Kerrigan. For the Protoss will never forget your treachery. We shall be watching you.
Just remember that I'll be out there, waiting for you to slip up. Because sooner or later you'll make a mistake. And when you do...
Our forces are under attack. Our forces are under attack.
It is my wish that you allow my men to live.
You're not in a position to offer me anything, Admiral. And I don't take prisoners. I'll tell you what. Turn your remaining ships around and start heading back towards the Earth. I'll even let you have a head start before I send the swarms after you. It'll be interesting sport to see how far you get before you die. Once again, I stand atop the broken bodies of my enemies, victorious, but not unscarred. The Earthborn Directorate has been destroyed, and the Overmind lies dead and trampled beneath the ashes of Char. As for my unlikely allies, I think that I shall allow them a reprieve. For in time I will seek to test their resolve and their strengths. They will all be mine in the end. For I am the Queen of Blades. None shall ever dispute my rule again.
Dearest Helena, by now the news of our defeat has reached the Earth. The creatures we were sent here to tame are untamable, and the colonies we were sent to reclaim have proven to be stronger than we anticipated. Whatever you may hear about what has happened out here, know this: Alexei did not die gloriously in battle. I killed him. My pride killed him. And now my pride has consumed me as well. You will never see me again, Helena. Tell our children that I love them, and that their father died in defense of their future. Over.
Shortly after Dugall's defeat, the remainder of the UED fleet was overtaken by Kerrigan's forces and eradicated. No UED vessel ever made it back to Earth to report what's transpired. With his ragtag fleet beaten and crippled, Arcturus Mengsk fled back to Korhal to lick his wounds and plan the reconstruction of his Terran dominion. Artanis and the Protoss survivors returned to Shakuras to begin rebuilding their once glorious civilization. Zeratul and James Raynor went their separate ways and have not been heard from since their departure. And alone, floating on a dark platform above the burnt-out planet of Char, Sarah Kerrigan, the Queen of Blades, sat and lorded over the ravenous swarms, unable to shake the feeling that a great threat loomed just over the horizon. Kerrigan could only stare off into the vastness of space, where she beheld a great void, or perhaps a reflection of a hollow victory and the trials yet to come. It took me a while to pinpoint what exactly makes the story of StarCraft work so well. On the surface, it feels like yet another faux Western sci-fi story with space cowboys on hoverbikes fighting a war on two fronts against evil bug aliens on one side and a race of self-righteous, hyper-advanced warrior sages on the other. The characters, however, seem to almost be going into the story with that exact expectation in mind. Jim Raynor is this small-town cop ignored by his government. He's manipulated by Mengsk not because he's particularly gullible or foolish, but because he's unaware of the greater machinations behind the scenes. When we get to the Protoss campaign, we're introduced to the Conclave, and they fall exactly into that expectation we had as players. Aldaris, being the literal face of the old ways, carries himself with every bit of self-assured smugness of somebody as profoundly set in his ways as he is. It's only through Tassidar's acceptance of change and his willingness to embrace the Dark Templar and the Terrans that they manage to take down the Overmind and win in the end. Brood War, however, plays out a little differently. New players on the scene who weren't around to learn from the events of the first campaigns arrive in the form of the United Earth Directorate, headed by the competent yet prideful Dugall and Stukov. Kerrigan, whose presence in the story was a little lacking past the Overmind campaign, shows up on Shakuras, having already planted the seeds of her manipulation in Rajagal, unbeknownst to everyone else. She uses the Protoss to further her own agenda by exploiting their newfound openness to outsiders, taking advantage of the very lessons they learned from Tassadar. When Aldaris finds out about this, albeit with a not-so-subtle push from Kerrigan, Zeratul and Artanis immediately point fingers at the Judicator, assuming that he's just fallen back into his old prejudices. The UED's arrival was ultimately the best possible thing to happen for Kerrigan. It gave her one specific target, a common enemy to unite everyone against. Even if Raynor, Phoenix, and Mengsk don't trust her, they all know that the UED needs to be stopped, believing that it's the bigger threat. And by the end, when everyone realizes they've been played, when the Dominion, the Templar, and the UED all tenuously join forces to stop Kerrigan, it's too late. She's already divided them long enough to be able to pick off the major players and the real threats and set herself up as the queen bitch of the universe. But even then, nobody really wins. The Protoss and the Dominion would eventually rebuild themselves, but to call the final battle anything but a complete washover for the militaries would just be dishonest. The UED gets rocked to its very core, leading Dugall to come to terms with his mistakes, how he's allowed his pride to destroy the very empire he's been sent out here to build. But the one who has it worst in the end is Kerrigan. Sure, she's won the battle, the war even, but what's left for her now? There's nobody else for her to betray. Maybe she can go on to test the resolve of her former allies. Maybe she'll win in the end, but what then? All she has left in the end is an army of mindless, purposeless creatures to lord over. All she can do now is look up at the stars and wonder what else is out there. And she'll find out soon enough. But that's a story for another time. I really don't want this video to get too long. So, with that, The story of StarCraft 1 and the story of Brood War are concluded. StarCraft Brood War is a game that's managed to stand the test of time in a way that many others haven't. This game came out in 1998. It's 2024. This game is almost 30 years old, and we're still here talking about it. It still has an active community, it still has so much going for it. It's like looking back into a time capsule of the 90s. StarCraft 1 is a terribly optimized game. The fact that Brood War is so rough, that it is so unpolished, unoptimized, unmodern, it's endearing. Even with the 2017 remaster, it still feels like a very old game. It still feels like I am in the 90s, like I am playing it as it came out, and it's like, I don't know. This is how I do when I don't have a script, genuinely. I try. I keep trying to think of like something insightful to say, something crazy, something good, something impactful. I don't know what I'm saying. When I started making this video, I thought it would be like 30 to 45 minutes tops. I had no conceptualization that it would be almost 2 hours. The Jack who recorded all the narration and the Jack you see before you now are two completely different people. This has been the biggest video project I've done in my entire life so far. This is the most I've gone through. This is the longest I've taken, the most effort I've put in, and I think it's pretty okay. I am my own harshest critic as much as I am my biggest glazer. I have no idea how good this actually is. All I know is I put a lot of time and effort into it, and if you made it this far, I do genuinely appreciate that. I guess other things to mention. Yes, I know I'm bad. I know I'm not good at StarCraft. I know I'm terrible at this game. I know my APM is shit. I know I'm not good at this game. Please. Please do judge me for it. I have no excuse to be this bad. I've had 30 years. That's a lie. I did not actually have 30 years. This game came out like 6 years before I was born, so I have had 1, 2, 3. I've had 19 years. That's how long I've had. Regardless of all of that, this video was fun to make. It got on my nerves at times. It got very frustrating. It got very rough, and I thought to myself, why am I doing this? What am I doing with my life? Because, you know, I'm not making any fucking money off of this. This has all been just a fucking passion project of mine. Like, this is all for the love of the game, man. Again, if you've made it this far, I don't know what to say. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Please, like the video. Like the video. Like the video. If this video gets 100 likes, I will drop a cover of the Brood War intro song, that aria song, that one where the opera song, she's in singing in Latin, that one, the Brood War intro song. I'll drop a cover of that. 100 likes, you can do it. We can do it. I will try to be more active on the channel. I will be uploading more, as much as I can at least. I am going into my next semester of college, my final semester before I transfer to my next school, and it's a lot to think about. It's just a lot to go through, and yeah. I will try to upload as much as I can, but I can't make any promises. I do genuinely like doing this, so I hope I have time. I hope I get the chance to. But if not, just know that I am working toward being the best possible version of myself. That's the thing I said at the end of that one video. Yeah. Look, it's late. I'm tired, dude. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.